Well, let's go back to political news and slow things down a bit. Democrats around the country rallying around Vice President Kamala Harris, endorsing her as the successor to Joe Biden after this withdrawal from the 2024 race. Now, many are wondering, who will she select as her VP? Joining me now to talk about possible names is Professor William Muck from North Central College. Thank you so much for being here, as always.
Always good to be here and chatting with you.
So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this, really. I think one glaring thing that sticks out is on this short list of possible VPs running with Kamala Harris could be J.B. Pritzker, our Illinois governor. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think he's one of a handful of individuals that would be potentially exciting, right? So if you're thinking about the Harris campaign, they're probably thinking regionally, right? The Midwest is going to be so important. So to pick somebody from Illinois or Michigan or Pennsylvania would be a really sort of rocket fuel to the campaign. And Pritzker is a rising star there. Now, a lot of this will come down to the relationships that they have with the potential president, right? So it's not just regional. It's also about which one does Kamala Harris get along with. So, but he certainly is in the mix, and I think exciting for those of us living in Illinois.
Let's talk about, what does she really have to consider here when it comes to making a VP choice? Do you think name recognition also plays into this? Because, of course, we know J.B. Pritzker, but we have to look at this from a national perspective.
Right. And I think it's also important to step back and think about her candidacy as well. And what is she trying to do? So everybody knows her as the vice president, but also she's got to reintroduce herself. And you know, being a woman of color is going to be a challenge, right? So I think it's likely they're going to try to balance the ticket a little bit, maybe go with the safer choice. And so I think there are a lot of factors that will go into this. And they want to portray the campaign as centrist, right? We've already seen this out of the Trump campaign. They're going to try to portray Kamala Harris as an extreme leftist. That's not the case. She's actually really moderate. But so a VP pick can help center that and sort of create this dynamic that this is a sensible, centrist campaign. So I think that's part of what they're going to be thinking about, as well as regional dynamics and in particular swing states.
That's a very important point. And let's talk about the party. I think as a whole, we've seen Illinois Senator Dick Durbin back Kamala Harris, the highest ranking senator right now. We haven't seen that from Chuck Schumer. Why do you think, as a party, so many of the top decision makers in that party hasn't said, yes, I back Kamala Harris?
They're walking a fine line here. So with the party, it's clear where things are heading. She is going to be the nominee, but they don't want to see like they're putting their thumb on the scale. So, you know, on Wednesday, the Rules Committee will meet. They'll come up with the process, and the leadership wants to make it seem, and again, wants it to be legitimate, where even though Kamala Harris is the leading candidate, if there are other voices, they could put their name in the arena as well. So I think they want the process to play out, and that's why you're seeing some individuals not at the top say, hey, we're ready for Harris, and others, you know, including Obama and top congressional leaders saying, let's let the process play out. We think we're inevitably going to get there. So they're being careful, partly because the Trump campaign is suggesting that they're manipulating the process. So they want this to appear transparent and let it organically play out.
Well, let's talk about something that we were actually talking about behind the scenes here, and that was the Secret Service hearing some expletives dropped there. I thought a little unprofessional. What did you think when you were watching those?
It's sort of interesting that in many ways it was a bipartisan attack, and this is what was likely to happen, right? So both sides are frustrated and angry. It was clear that things were missed, and so they're going to target somebody to blame. And you always go to the head of the organization, and members of Congress don't always behave themselves well in that setting. But these are all about, you know, getting talking points, getting themselves on the air. I think it's probably likely that we're going to see some changes at the top there, just because that's the quickest way to solve the problem. Now, ideally, you'd like to address those holes in what's really going on, but some of what we saw today was largely political, right? Targeting individuals, making it seem like we can solve this through politics. But the reality, there needs to be more thorough investigation at all levels to see what went wrong and how we fix that.
Very true. And some people, I think, also want a trend in the news cycle as well for some of the things that they had to say. Professor William Muck, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Fox 32 today.